Hello everybody, it's Maria Willis from Card Bomb here, and I'm so glad to have you joining me today because we're going to be taking a closer look at the brand new Stamp Club set from Tonic Studios. This month's release is called Christmas Rose and it is absolutely stunning. Now I'm excited to be able to say that I actually illustrated the main floral stamp in this set, and that's a first for me, so I'm excited to get to share that with you and I hope that you might like it. So without any further ado, let's take a closer look. I love this Christmas rose set because you can make cards in a wide variety of styles, from classy to rustic to classic Christmas. There's a large floral stamp with two matching smaller ones. They each have coordinating dies so that you can make single layer cards or pop them up for dimension. I colored this card with alcohol markers for a creative and artistic look, and on this next card I stamped the stamp 2 times and then did a simple ink blended background for a completely different look. Now this pine needle stamp allows us to get more of a Christmas or holiday themed look. I stamped in 2 shades of green to create this easy background, and on this card I heat embossed the pine needles in gold on top of a watercolored background for a different look. These next 2 stamps are great for creating texture on your cards. One is great for creating borders and the other is great for creating random texture. So this one I like to just stamp randomly on my background, and this one is great for creating borders on your cards. You can stamp it in a darker color for a more graphic look or a lighter one for a more elegant look, so you can see how easy it is to add that extra texture with those 2 stamps. Now here's a card where I used that dotted stamp and heat embossed in gold to add that extra texture into my background, and I love the way it adds just a little bit of extra sparkle. Now I stamped that border stamp in a light tan onto white cardstock, and paired with a pearlescent cardstock it gives quite an elegant look. I used the same stamp with blue ink to add a gently textured border to this card, and I love the way that it is so subtly beautiful. This stamp set has a ton of great sentiments in a gorgeous scripty font, and what I love about it is that these sentiments can be used on the inside of your cards as well. So here are some examples. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Happy Holidays, sending warm wishes. May your heart be full of peace and joy this holiday season. I think that one's my favorite. Now here's a tiny card. Merry Christmas to you and yours. Another great thing about these sentiments is that many of them have coordinating dies. The ones that have coordinating dies are the ones that you might commonly find on the front of the card, so adding that extra dimension is going to be really fun. Make sure to try stamping and heat embossing in different colors to add a little bit more pop to your cards. Now I know a lot of us like to mass produce our holiday cards, so here's a little tip for making that go more quickly. I put all of the sentiments that have a coordinating die into my MISTI and stamped them with embossing ink. Then I added embossing powder, and now I'm heat setting them, so I have a full set of sentiments in silver now. I left my stamps inside of my MISTI, and now I'm going to stamp them again, this time in black pigment ink so that I can add clear embossing powder. I can heat set them, and now I have 2 sets of sentiments without having to do any extra work. Now I'm going to put the coordinating dies on top of those sentiments and tape them down with some low tack tape. I'm going to run them through my die cutting machine to cut them all out. And when they come out the other side, I have a full set of perfect little sentiments that I can use whenever I need them. I'm going to do the exact same thing with the sentiments that I heat embossed in silver. And just like that, I have a second set of sentiments heat embossed in silver. So now I have 2 full sets of sentiments that I can easily grab from when I'm making my cards, and you can do this as many times in as many colors as you want. There are also 2 sets of standalone word dies in this die set. You get Happy Holidays and Merry Christmas. Each of these comes with the shadow background and the detailed word die. There are also standalone holly leaves and holly berries in this set, and these dies all combined make card making so easy. So here is an example where I used the Merry Christmas word dies combined with the holly berries, and it was just such an easy card to put together. Here we've got the Merry Christmas word dies combined with the Happy Holidays die cut sentiment that's popped up, and I've stamped the inside of that card as well. Now let's take a look at these 3 frame dies. These dies can be used individually or together, and the possibilities are endless. So we've got 2 solid dies, and then this die has this great circle punch detail. If you cut out just this smallest die, you'll get a larger frame and that smaller centerpiece, which is perfect for matting. Cutting out this larger die will give you a narrower frame and a larger centerpiece for layering. This dotted die will cut just the detail into a piece of cardstock. Now, all of these different pieces can be combined in a bunch of fun different ways, so you're just going to have to grab your pieces and play around with them to see what layering combos you like. Remember to use these frames as they look really great on your cards too. And also try layering that dotted die cut on top of either colored or foiled cardstock for a really cool look. Whatever you put it on top of, you're going to catch a peek of that through those dots, and it looks really amazing on your cards. So even though there are a ton of combinations that you can play with by just cutting each of these individually, there are even more combinations that you can come up with when you cut them together. When you cut these two solid dies together, you're going to end up with three pieces. You're going to end up with that mat in the middle, a new frame, and then that same outer frame that we had before. When you cut that smaller die inside of the dotted frame, you're going to get two pieces, and that outer frame is now going to have that dotted detail cut into it. When you use that dotted frame with the larger solid frame, you're going to cut a mat that has that great dotted detail cut into it. Now you can also cut all three of these dies together, and when you do, you're going to end up with a layering mat in the middle, a frame on the outside, but that center frame is going to have that dotted detail cut into it. Now I love how much that dotted detail adds to all these different pieces, so it's really fun to play with those and see the different combinations you can get. Now something else that I thought was fun was taking that dotted frame and cutting it down into strips and then using those strips as trim on my cards. On this card I used the smaller frame and some patterned paper to create a background for my sentiments, and then I added some of that dotted trim in red to make my card pop just a little bit more. Now, if you love sending out holiday cards with family photos, then this bundle is perfect for you. It was so easy to create this frame and then just slip a photo inside of that card front, and you have a perfect way to send your family photos out to your loved ones during the holidays. And of course, there are great stamps for the inside too, sending happiness and joy from our home to yours. So that was fun and easy to put together, and this bundle is also great for making shaker cards. So what I did to make this shaker card without any foam at all was I cut some of these frames like I used on the family photo card, and I glued them together and layered them. So I cut a whole bunch out in white and I glued those together, and then I added one on top that was in red, and on top of the red one I added that gold dotted frame, which allows you to see the red behind it, and it was just such an easy way to make a shaker card that doesn't leak. Now, as I was playing around with these dies, I realized that you can actually make custom size mats and layering pieces that can also be used as tags or labels for your Christmas projects. So let me show you how to do that. Now all you need to do is grab one of these two solid dies. I just happen to be using the smaller one, and grab a piece of cardstock. I'm going to tape it down to my cardstock, and I'm going to run it through my die cut machine so that I end up with just like a half of the piece, or whatever size you're going for. You just need part of that original die cut. Then I'm just going to flip that die cut around and line it up with the edges of my die. Because it's already the perfect size, it nestles right into those little die cutting rails on the back of the die. So it just easily notches into place, and I'm just going to put an extra piece of tape to make sure that it doesn't slide once I die cut it. So I'm going to run that through my die cut machine, and when I pop it out, boom, I have this perfect little piece that I can use for layering on my cards or projects. I can also use it for tags or labels. It's really great because it really just expands the options now that I have different sizing options. So here is a card that I used 2 custom size layering mats on, and you can also do long ones. So I just used them the short way, but just so you know, you can also do this lengthwise and create some longer custom sizes. Okay, you guys, that's it for today. So I hope you've got some fun ideas for using with this new Christmas Rose Stamp and Die bundle. Let's take a look at some of the cards that I've made, and I just want you to see the wide range of different styles in the cards that I've made. You can spend the time to be artistic with this set, or you can choose to do die cutting and mass produce your holiday cards. So this Christmas Rose Stamp and Die Bundle is available now exclusively from Tonic Studios. We also have a blog hop and giveaway over on my blog at www.cardbomb.com. So head over there to enter and join the fun. And for more information, click the links in the description box below. Thank you and happy crafting!